All right, let me know. Peace, everyone. Welcome. This is Class 8 of the Trust and Contractual Legal Safeguard course. This is part 1 of
Power of attorney.
Legal power attorney. Part 1 of power attorney, and we'll have part 2 next week. And then King will go into, I think, class 10. You mentioned, King, that you will we will look at an existing trust. We will analyze trusts, the various trusts in class 10 for our first week. So this is July 5th, 2025 to 2:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Class 8, part 1 of power attorney. I'm going to hand the class over to our instructor, our teacher, Keng ElBey.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is going to help you understand the importance of power of attorney, especially when you're dealing with the law agency, and understanding the sequence of events that need to occur when we're talking about trust management. Giving other entities or individuals power to act in a capacity delegated by the trustee. So we need to understand these points as it relates to power of attorney. Original point. Think of a power of attorney as a permission slip for grown-ups. Instead to running every errand, you write one sheet that says, my trusted person can sign my name or make decisions for me. Banks, doctors, courts, respect that sheet as if you were standing there. Do everybody understand the importance of what they're saying? I need to hear from the family.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So if a power of attorney is done right, that person is going to act as if you were standing there. They will act in the capacity of you with no restraints. Let me see. I just had my glasses real quick on this one. About 3-4 pages.
While King is looking for his glasses, Israel, you want to read the second paragraph?
I got my glasses.
Oh, you got your glasses? All right.
Yeah. So let's go on to, it says a general power of attorney. This is a general. It's very broad. It covers a lot of ground. So when you normally deal with a general power of attorney when you're giving a person a lot of power to do a lot of different things. So it helps the helper handle almost everything, pay bills, sell property, right? Almost everything, a general power of attorney. Then you have a special and limited. Then that narrows. If you have a special or limited power of attorney, it narrows. It covers normally one thing, like selling a car or closing a house deal, then it ends. Durable power of attorney, as we see right here, says stays alive even if you later get sick or lose mental capacity. Right? So y'all got to understand what a durable, that means reason why they call it durable, right? Because it lasts. It's very, once it's constructed, if you do it right, it's You know, when they say something is very durable, mean it's very constructed, it's very heavy or hard to take down because it's put together well. A good durable power of attorney you can do that's for a long term. That can last for a long time. If you understand a general and a durable power of attorney, you understand how much ground you can cover. Then you got health, or they call advanced directives, right? A medical power of attorney or advanced directives. Only for health choices, treatment, surgery, consent, end-of-life care, often paired with a HIPAA release so doctors can share your records with the helper. Everybody get that so far?
Affirmative.
So let's talk about, okay, principal and agent. Okay, who got a question? Okay. Let's talk about the principal and agent, right? The principal is the boss, giving one the power. The agent is also called the attorney in fact. He's not the attorney at law because he can't practice law without a license. Those are attorney of records, right? But a power of attorney is attorney in fact. Why is he an attorney in fact? Because he's going to deal with the facts of the case. He's not going to deal with the legal. He's going to deal with the facts. He's going to have the evidence of everything. He's going to have what happened exactly. Do everybody understand what a power of attorney in fact is? He's going to have the evidence. The attorney of record or the attorney, right? The legal, dealing with the legal, he's going to draft the legal parts and couple that with the evidence that the attorney of fact is going to bring, because he's going to keep the records. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
The helper, the one using the power, he has the power. If you're the principal, you can still act for yourself at any time. That's called revocation. You can revoke the power of attorney. The agent is extra hands, not a replacement. Go down. Now let's talk about a durable power of attorney. Imagine if you sign, imagine you sign today, the 2 years later you suffer a stroke. Because of a form is a durable power of attorney, your helper can step right in, no extra paperwork. Don't need none. Right? So if you go to prison, you go into surgery, you got kids, you got everything, you can pass parts of this. You can combine the two different types of notaries and have it spelled out, triggering certain provisions and contracts and stuff that's necessary. A lot of y'all have contracts and y'all won't have a power of attorney associated with it. A lot of y'all will have a trust, and then you'll have a trustee, and then you're trying to have the trustee. No, the trustee needs to understand how to keep his hands clean. It's called the clean hands doctrine. Do me a favor, my brother. Israel, go to the clean hands doctrine. I want people, I just need y'all to see this.
Is there anyone any questions at this time?
Brother Israel.
Getting it together.
Yeah. Mhm. No questions, anyone? Israel's looking up the clean hands doctrine.
I have a question.
All right, we have a question on the floor, King. Who has a question?
This is Ishmael.
Ishmael, my man, how you doing, brother?
Right, all right. So if one has a power of attorney, how long does it last? And if the person passes away, how does it function? Or don't function?
Well, the power of attorney is going to spell out if it's you can put it for how many years? 6, 7 years, 8 years, and then the power of attorney may have to be renewed based on that, right? So what you want to do, if you have a durable power of attorney, right, general power of attorney, all of that combined with a medical power of attorney, you will be able to control someone's estate even upon death, especially if you are the executor of the estate, understanding how to obtain those documents under trust. Because remember, the executor is not necessarily the trustee. The executor may be the person over the will to distribute the property to the beneficiary. Hello? I should be. To what?
I thought he was still here.
Oh, yeah. No, not on me. It's just I had got bit. No, I ain't got. Can you hear me? Okay, all right. Good. So do anyone want to read this Clean Hands Doctrine?
Before you continue to read that, I'm gonna catch you at another time, but I would like you to explain a little bit more of the executive.
The executor?
Yes.
What do you want to know about the executor?
Well, I heard it before. Don't know how was it. How does that get established? And if so, if it is established, how is being recognized if that person has a case?
Is this on the same? Is this the power of attorney?
Yeah, it can fall into that. It's no big deal.
All right, go ahead.
An executor is you got to have a will to be an executor.
Understood.
You got a will?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if you're looking at a will, the will will identify the executor and the powers and duties. And then you will have a power of attorney, right? You might give him all three, a durable, a general, and a medical power of attorney, right? The executor then take those evidence, he can file it into the county, giving it to a law firm, giving it to an attorney, and then it can go that way, right? And that's how that works. Now, remember, as the executor, the person is dead. They're not alive or they're incapacitated.
Correct.
Now you can pull the plug if a person is on a breathing machine. You can do all types of things according to their state while they're incapacitated or either under death. But that don't give you the right to steal from the beneficiary.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. Did I make sense?
No, you make very good sense.
Okay. Anybody want to read this?
The clean hand doctrine is based on the maximum of equity, which states that one who come into equity must come with clean hands. This doctrine requires the courts to deny equitable relief to a party who has violated good faith. with respects to the subject of the claim. The purpose of the doctrine is, the purpose of the doctrine as explained by ElBey Furniture Company, Inc. versus Belinda Overton is to provide a party.
No, to prevent a party.
To prevent a party from obtaining relief when that party's own wrongful conduct had made it such that granting the relief would be against equity and good conscience. However, as noted by the U.S. Supreme Court in Keystone Driller Company versus General Excavator Company, such a wrongful act must have an immediate and necessary relation to the equity that must be sought. That is being sought.
Okay. Can anybody explain what he just read? Can you explain what you just read, brother?
It's just a mechanism to prevent people who are not operating in good faith to gain relief if it's not equitable.
Do anybody else want to try to explain this? Come on now, y'all gotta understand this clean hands doctrine.
Well, I think it means that the party who was doing wrongful, who was conducting things outside of good faith, basically they can't get over. So they can't try to turn around and still gain from the situation because they acted out of conduct.
Mm-hmm.
I can give an example. I know last week we were talking about or was it the previous week? I don't recall. In the previous week, talking about like licensing rights and things like that. So if somebody say took this your recordings and information as it's presented and was going and presenting it, and somebody else then went and started presenting the same information, they can't make a claim from that person saying that they're taking their information and that they're making money off of something that it belongs to them.
Right.
They have no right to that video
right.
and information that's put together in this way.
Right. So do me a favor, brother Israel, click on good faith. Somebody want to read this, good faith?
A different reader.
Good faith is a broad term that is used to encompass honest dealing. Depending on the exact setting, good faith may require an honest belief or purpose, faithful performance of duties, observance of fair dealing standards, or an absence of fraudulent intent. A fiduciary relationship creates a duty of good faith between the agent and the principal. The breach of this duty of good faith can lead to liability. Failure to act in good faith is known as bad faith and is generally considered a level of culpability greater than negligence.
So, I want you to understand this, right? When that Social Security and they gave you, that's why they say in God we trust with the Federal Reserve note, right? They give you this in good faith that you're going to do an honest dealing with that Federal Reserve note. So when you do something against what? Society as it relates to a statute or a code, you're not operating in good faith. And it comes with a consequence. That's why intent is always an element for a criminal charge. What was the individual intent? Because to determine if you're acting in good faith or not determines what your intent was to do with the product or thing that you were doing it with. Why were you doing it? What was you doing it for? Do that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I need y'all to understand this, because this trust relationship is built on good faith. You having a social security number is built on good faith. These are common law principles that's been incorporated into a statute that helps shape these statutes. So a lot of times when the statute don't cover everything, they are presented in contracts as a catch-all to try to catch what the statute didn't cover. Do that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
See what I'm saying? So I need y'all to understand this information, because the stuff that I'm teaching, you ain't hearing people talk about this because they're not litigators. I'm able to give you both worlds, documentation and telling you why, but also giving you the legal upside to this information and making it very clear, right? In a legal form for you to understand what I'm speaking on.
All right.
Because I have litigated a lot, right?
So being uneducated in this aspect and not understanding how the Federal Reserves is being used is how a lot of the banks are able to maneuver and do foreclosures.
Of course, because most of us don't know the law. You don't have see, our community suffer from what?
A lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge. But what is that knowledge? Knowledge is a resource. Knowledge is a resource. I want y'all to understand that. So how do they keep us out?
Keeping us uneducated.
And what else? But how do they keep you uneducated?
Not having access to the right information.
They convinced us of social engineering that this level of information is irrelevant.
Of course. But I want you to understand, taking back our power economically. So they use the economic side a lot of times to keep us into this side of thinking, because it don't allow you access. I want you to think about this. I don't want you to think about money anymore. I want you to think about, what do you have access to? All of this is about access and control of resources. It's not about the money. The money was a idea as a distraction to keep you from understanding what is.
Is that me on my, is he frozen?
No, he's frozen.
Frozen.
All right. All right. So he's talking about, because he's going to have to, because I want to keep it going. Yeah, it's important that we are very clear on what he's saying. And then we know that the Federal Reserve knows not the money. So because the gold is the gold, because what's happening is that a lot of these different countries have, particular Burkina Faso is rising real fast because she's having control of her gold, and her gold reserves. The United States has used the Federal Reserve note as a weapon. The United States the Federal Reserve note became the world's currency during the Bretton Woods Agreement 75 years ago. So the United States has been able to get grains, get minerals, get by printing. I mean, so the United States is getting all these substance from nothing. for nothing. They just printing, and countries were hipped on this, but they were not in a position to do anything about it. That's changing. Now, when it comes to us, who are the subjugated people who belong to the Moroccan Empire. So you're going to hear me say that we the Moors who belong to the Moroccan Empire, who's currently in the hospital, or has been collapsed. You know, the what's important for us is that we continue to be on the road. And as I said to Terrence earlier today, and also Amanda, is that we look to being on the road to the recovery of our lost Lord's sovereignty for the past 113 years. I know that there's been misconceptions. I know that. But the fact that the fact that we have declared our nationality, in our misconceptions, we are doing it with the consciousness that we're Moors. What does that mean in international law? Not in United States laws, not in United States Constitution, not in state statutes. What does it mean for people who've been subjugated to, even if they're wrong, even if they're doing misconceptions, even if they're wrongful acts, even if they're not doing it right, all right? But the fact that we are declaring that we're Moors and doing the best we can, that we're Moors, what does it mean in international law? It means that we are people who've been fighting, who've been on the road working to revive our mother for the past 113 years. Not in the United States. The problem has been we've been measuring our activity by United States Constitution, by state statutes, by United States codes. That's where the problem is. We have not used international law to measure anything. The Native people of Hawaii have been fighting since 1893. They hadn't gotten all right, but they have gotten farther than us. In 1974, they went to World Court, 1974, rather. So they've gotten farther than us. It ain't about getting it all right. Hear me out, my brothers and sisters. It's not about getting it all right. It's about being active in a Moorish nationality. We're not talking about Moors classified as black. We're talking about conscious Moors for the past 113 years being active in their Moorish consciousness. We can take that to the world body and show 113 years of consistent activity on the road to recover our lost Moorish sovereignty. That means a lot in the world community. I just wanted to continue with Keng. I didn't, so I didn't want to have dead air. Go ahead, Keng.
Okay, so I want us to understand how to think about money and think about wealth. I don't want you to concentrate on the ability to generate Federal Reserve notes. I want you to think about sustainability based on your ability to have access to everything you need. Let me ask you guys something, and I want a census, and I'm gonna go down the line, and I'm gonna start with Abdullah. Abdullah, if you had the ability to get everything you wanted without touching the Federal Reserve notes, would you be satisfied?
So it's kind of a vague. it's challenging for me to answer that because I know that the Federal Reserve note is an instrument of oppression, an instrument of stealing. That I know that the Bretton Woods Agreement brought that about, that became the world currency. And the United States has been stealing labor and precious metals and so forth and grains and, worldwide. And they have positioned themselves militarily, to maintain that. So it's kind of, the question is,
A little bit more. Okay, well let's go to Terrence.
yeah, it's
Let's
just
go to Terrence.
because
Now,
the
I'm trying
knowledge.
to keep it simple. I'm trying to keep it simple.
Yeah, but I still got to answer it based on the knowledge that I have and knowing what the Federal Reserve note is.
Right. But most of us think of, like, I'm just trying to get us as how we go to work for the Federal Reserve note. We sell products for the Federal Reserve note. And most of us depend on the Federal Reserve note, even to pay our doctor bills, to go to the movies, to pay for our children's daycare, or rendering any service. So this question to you, just excuse me, in a modern sense, Terrence, if you can have access to everything you want, doctor, clothing stores, whatever you need, without having to touching a Federal Reserve note, would you be a little more satisfied? I get what we're trying to accomplish, our more sovereignty, but right now, to this day, if you can get everything that you need, just based on your situation right now, I know we're moving towards getting our sovereignty back, but would you be a little more satisfied with that?
You know what? Because that's where my mind kind of went as well, with what Abdullah said, but I didn't get that deep. In certain situations, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You are muted. I can't hear you though.
No, I'm not muted. Am I still
Nah,
muted?
Terrence, I can hear him. Terrence is loud and clear.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong? I can't hear you, Abdullah. Can y'all hear me?
It's King.
Oh yeah,
What's going on with
yeah,
this thing?
it's his line going
It's
bad.
King. It's King. So let me
Hello?
go ahead. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Terrence.
yeah.
Can
Let me
y'all
call
hear
him.
me, brother Israel?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Amanda, I can't hear nobody.
Yeah, he can't hear us.
All right, let me call him.
Or just push the chat. The chat. Say tell him it's his.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, just hit the chat.
Put it in the chat, Amanda. Somebody.
Hello?
I just did.
I was never muted.
No, sometimes
Hello?
you don't have to be muted. He told me he has to go out, come back in.
Go out and come back in, man. It's
Yeah,
stuck.
good. He's doing what I was gonna call him for. He's doing what I was gonna call him for. All right, good. All right, so
I mean, I really can't answer yes or no, because then it's so easy to say yes. It's so easy to say yes. Certain things that I need, that I think I would take it from that perspective. Certain things that I need, that I would have to use the Federal Reserve note for. If I was able to get it without it, then yes, I would be satisfied. But for every, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta admit him back in. All right, he should be coming back in shortly. There he is.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you. You hear us?
can you hear us?
Oh man, it's his
I can't hear nobody.
It's gotta
He
be
has
his.
to probably shut his stuff down, come back in. He has to shut everything down.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
All right.
Something was turned down. His volume was probably turned down or something.
I don't know what happened. I think I hit this button. I couldn't hear nobody.
Yeah.
All right, good. Right.
So I was saying, I mean, without really thinking too deep into it, the easy answer would be to say, sure, I would be, I would be satisfied. That's the easy answer. But I mean, it's some thought that got to be put into that because it is kind of broad,
I just want a simple answer because I'm telling you, I work. I work a lot to get these daggone Federal Reserve notes. I ain't gonna lie, I work over 100 and some hours every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm constantly working. Man, I'm talking about I work so much. I work a lot. Do I work a lot, Abdullah?
Yeah, but King, but the simple answer is somebody who doesn't have knowledge though. See, someone who has knowledge like I do, like Richard Wolff, like Jeffrey Sachs. Richard Wolff and Jeffrey Sachs are European economists. They have this knowledge of what the Federal Reserve Note is. Richard Wolff, if you were to ask that question to Richard Wolff and Jeffrey Sachs, they would answer like me. They would never concede. They would never concede to a simple answer. Richard Wolff and Jeffrey Sachs, economists, would never concede.
Absolutely.
They would never concede. Because what you're doing is that you are constructing by saying simple answer. Richard Wolff and Jeffrey Sachs would never concede to that. Richard Wolff and Jeffrey Sachs were doing ElBey. They were going to the Bretton Woods Agreement, all that. They were going to the United States control, and they would go into what the control of it. They would do that. They would never concede to a simple answer.
Well,
because of the knowledge of what it is.
Let me structure.
Yeah.
Let me structure.
No, I understand. I just want to that they would
But
never
I'm
concede
trying to
to
give
that.
them a concept of where that is tangible.
Yeah, but I'm saying that once again, that to give the proper concept is to go into what it actually is in the Bretton Woods Agreement and all that.
I get that. I mean,
yeah, I get you, but yeah.
But this, let me say this. Right. We understand. See the whole thing. See the whole stealing of government. The stripping of us of our and putting us in a subjugated status is already over the top. The Federal Reserve notes in this system that they put in, right? It was done because they stripped us of our nationality, of our national identity. They stripped us, right? So we don't have the ability to even challenge that. What they're doing federally with the Federal Reserve System. I was just trying to get people to understand the concept of money as it relates to the United States so that we can understand what we need to do as a unified front. Because it's not about the money. The trust relationship, the purpose of trust is to build a community that supplies every resource that you need to sustain your life. It sustains your life with the knowledge and resources, which is all resources that allow you to thrive and go beyond this construct, to allow you to reach deeper and prepare your children having more foresight. When you have like this stuff with law, I was explaining to Abdullah, sometimes it's freaky because I have so much insight on things that I haven't studied. It seems like I can hit the mark anytime I feel like it. Like I just got a lot of insight. I don't know if that came from the ancestors. I don't know where it came from. It's a gift from God. But I've been good at law for a long time. And I was able to do things that I seen people been doing it for 20 years and couldn't get it right. for whatever reason. So I'm teaching you trust so you can understand not to get caught up in the money system.
Yeah, but King, keep in mind that knowledge is a huge resource, though,
Yeah,
and
that's
that
what I'm saying.
we're not caught up in the money system because the Federal Reserve Note is not the money system. So
Right,
with that, let's be clear. Let's be clear that
right,
nobody. Let's be clear. This is for the record. No one's caught up in the money system. Let's be clear on that. So I just want to, no one's caught up in the money system because they don't know, they don't, the money system has not been functionable. They've been using a debt system. They ain't been using the money system. They in violation of the United States Constitution. They're not using the money system. The money system, according to the United States Constitution, not Abdullah Bey, not King ElBey, not according to Donald Trump, not according to Donald Trump. According to the United States Constitution, within that political jurisdiction, within the United States political jurisdiction, the money system is gold and silver coins. That's gold and silver coin. That's the money system. This is important that we know this, that because this is recorded, this is going to be sold. We want to make it very clear that we are not caught up in the money system. We're caught up in a debt system has been forced upon the Europeans as well as the native Moors of the land. So this is what I was saying, King. We have to put the proper concepts out there because the proper concepts is a strong resource. What's been lacking for us in a community, not only access to food and stuff like that, but also access to proper knowledge.
right,
Keep in mind, knowledge is a resource.
right. I said knowledge is a resource.
Yeah, but I know our people don't know that. Our people don't know that because we've been oppressed. Will people say knowledge is power? They really don't know that because they don't know that. I hear people parrot things a lot. Knowledge is power. They don't know that knowledge is power. They don't.
Knowledge is everything.
No. I'm saying no. I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm saying those
No,
who
I know.
parrot that
I get
in our communities, in the unconscious Moors communities, unconscious Moors do not know that knowledge is power. They've been parrying it, but they don't know that it's power because we've been absent of the knowledge. So how would they know that knowledge is power? It's just parroting it. The Afrocentric folks, Pan-Africanism, you know what I mean? Knowledge is power and that whole emotional stuff. They don't know that knowledge is power. It's just a bunch of pet peeve statements in our community. It's not realization. It's not actualization where we're actually applying the knowledge. And then we have the power. We've seen the power as a result of the knowledge. That doesn't exist in our community. It's just feel-good statements. And I'm beyond feel-good statements. I ain't got time for that.
So with this course is what I'm trying to get us to understand is what we're trying to do. We're trying to build our own utopia. And it takes a collective effort. You have a right to choose a better way for life for yourself and for your children. It's a right. Nobody can take that away from you. You have a right.
I disagree with you. I disagree.
I mean,
I disagree with you. You said nobody. You said you have a right that nobody can take away. Come on, we subjugated.
Yeah,
the native people are subjugated. The Palestinians are subjugated. So you say no one can take it away from us.
Well, based on
they have taken away from us. So I just want to be clear that that's not a true statement.
Well, based on that's not in a technical sense, but In a legal
No,
sense.
in a factual
No.
sense, it's not a true statement.
Now, in a factual sense, what I'm talking about in a legal sense, as they regard this is what they say. This is what due process is all about.
Yeah, but they have done. It's called subjugation.
Right.
It's called conquest. It's called occupation.
Right.
What they did with the native people of Hawaii, what they did with the Palestinians, what they did with the Bokanabis, what they did with, we can go on and on and on and on and on. What they did with China, we go Japan, we can go on and on. So that's not to say that no one can take it from us.
I'm talking about so when you go to court, as we look at legal argument.
I'm talking from a subjugation. I'm talking because we belong to a people. So I'm coming from so we're coming from two different perspectives. Then
we coming from it's mine's based on this course. It's not spilling over in every gap of international law and every aspect of what's truly going on.
Oh, because I only look at it because we belong to a people. We belong to the Moroccan Empire. So I'm coming from that because I know there's no other way I can come because that's my mother. I'm identifying who my mother is, and I know my mother is sick. My mother's been sick for over 200 years due to English, French, Spanish, Portuguese colonization. They injured my mother, and so she's been in the hospital. So I'm going to the hospital to revive my mother. You know, I'm going to take some soap and going to massage my mother. All right. So we're massaging our mother right now when we hold classes, when we do lectures. We're massaging our mother. We're reviving our mother. That's known in international law as the recovery of lost moral sovereignty. I don't know what other perspective to come from.
Well,
question.
I don't know what other perspective to come from because I'm very clear who my mother is. That's
question.
And the condition of my mother.
But okay, Abdullah, I'm trying to make it based on everybody. So
Question.
Yeah.
Since there's no money on the point of what Abdullah is speaking on, what do we do in order to, fulfill those needs that we all have, since there's no money?
So this is why this trust relationship is going on. This is why trust. So this is why I'm trying to make it simple. I'm trying to start small so we can move big. Not to overwhelm them with a whole bunch of information all at once. Okay? Because I had to simplify this and break it down before I scaled it into the international world and understanding the complexities of this information. Because you can get lost in it. So the purpose of, I want you to understand, I'm looking at Federal Reserve notes as a key. Just look at it as a key to different doors. But you got to build a structure, right, to put the door on and use the key. So that when you unlock the door, right, you have access to things in which sustain your life and your children's life, right? It can be knowledge. It can be a lot of information, books. It can be classes, right, where they teach you different sciences. It can be land. It can be food. It can be various different things. So I want you to look at it as a key, not as in the world, in the financial system, because their financial system is based on Federal Reserve notes. That's their financial system that they're using right now in the United States and subjugating, or not so much subjugating, using this form of financial system that they're using and implementing across the world with other states.
75 years, Bretton Woods Agreement.
So I want you to look at this as a key. Don't think about what you think, oh, I got further. No, it's a key. And it's just going to allow me to get access to the thing. So what's the purpose of having a trust in this knowledge? To take this information, build a structure where you can put those things in it, and you have a key to the door. Do that make sense?
Yes.
Let me say this.
It does make sense.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say real quick, I get where both brothers are coming from, Brother Abdul and Brother King, because yes, the Federal Reserve note is a tool that's been used to bind us, and it has been deceptively portrayed as quote unquote money, but we can also, it's a tool. So it's from my observations, especially with how people, quote unquote wealthy people, people with money move, they take that liquid, or they take those Federal Reserve notes and they get assets. So you're supposed to use the notes to get the assets, the actual assets, things that have real value, and then you use the trust to protect that.
Right. Right.
Let me say, I hear what you're saying, Akasha, but what's been happening is actually stealing, though. It's stealing because I hear what you're saying. You're talking from individual perspectives. I hear your position with that. But you're talking about a system of stealing. Be clear on it. It's stealing. Because the United States has been taking the labor of people worldwide. They've been taking precious metals and rice and grain. So El Salvador gives grain and gives rice, watermelon, etc. United States gives Federal Reserve notes. That's stealing. That's stealing. That's not trade.
Right.
That's not trade. Be clear, it's not trade. That's called stealing.
Mm-hmm.
The labor. So the people who plant the watermelons and the rice and grains, that's theft. Because the United States gives Federal Reserve notes to El Salvador or Mexico or Canada, Costa Rica, and etc. And they're giving labor. They use their labor to produce the gold, the grains. They use their labors to produce the watermelon, etc. Their labor. And the United States getting actual values. And they just print and print and print and print. And they're stealing. They created a system of stealing at the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1775. It's stealing. I mean, just want to put it in its proper perspective of what it is. It's stealing.
And also, there are the consequences to using the fiat currency. It's a consequence of the debt building and building and building, and who's gonna be liable for the debt? All those who
Inflation. It's called inflation.
It's more than that, though. It's beyond inflation, though, King. It's beyond inflation.
I mean,
because that's just a simple way of saying it, but it's more than that, though, because you're looking at.
But if we want to get real technical, the birthright step, that's way more severe. The Federal Reserve System was a consequence from the birthright step. The stealing of the land and the nationality was a result of them being able to come in power to do the things that they're doing today, with every facet of what they're doing, every component from the financial and the legal system. So the crux of the matter was not just that, it's the birth to stealing of our state, to putting us in a subjugated status. That is the ultimate thing that they done. So these are consequences of them taking our birthright and being able to utilize it, right? That is sit at the head and the top of all priority. But we have to have a roadmap to get there. We have to have a roadmap to get there. And we got to keep working there.
We have a roadmap to, all right, when I say nationality, I'm not just saying the word. I know conscious Moors don't know nationality. They don't.
Right.
They don't. They don't. I'm not just saying a word, nationality. I'm talking about the political application of it. Right. Once you are clear on the political application of it, which most conscious Moors are not, they just say they are Moor. They don't even know what that means. They don't. They have no clue they're saying they're Moor. They're nationalized. They don't even know what that means. as we grow into the political application of nationality, we'll get stronger. It's weak right now. It's weak. It's weak because they don't know nationality. They don't know what being a Moor is. They don't. I didn't know. So let's be clear. So I'm not just saying we're Moor. That I'm talking about the political application of it. It's really the lack of knowledge of our Moorish nationality. The roadmap is understanding the political function of our Moorish nationality, the political function of nationality in the context of international law. That knowledge, the functionality of that knowledge is the roadmap. The problem is the conscious Moors don't have that knowledge. But that's the roadmap. We want to be very clear. That's the roadmap. It's a very, very, very powerful roadmap.
Right.
The problem is, once again, most of the conscious Moors don't have that knowledge. We can remedy that, but that is the roadmap. That's the roadmap.
I think before you even get to us not having the knowledge, it's the lack of interest in the knowledge. Like we don't even see a interest in even, you know what I'm saying, delving into nationality and what does that actually mean on an international application level. I mean, I don't see people really interested in it like that. Like,
all right. Now the question is why? Why aren't people interested in it? Because the conscious Moors, on my 33 years of observation and involvement, because the conscious Moors do not have a knowledge of the political function of nationality. Therefore, unconscious Moors see chaos. Why would they want to be interested? Why would they? Package selling. Why would they want to be interested? What have we done for them to be interested? I mean, let's to thy own self be true. To thy own self be true. What have the conscious Moors done in 113 years for unconscious Moors to be interested? Let's be real. Let's be real. Why would they be interested?
Right.
Package selling. Putting judges leaning this, lean this, lean that, lean this, lean this. I mean, the misconceptions go on. Terrence knows what I'm talking about. Let's be honest with ourselves so we can move forward. Let's be honest. Why would unconscious Moors, we have to make it attractive to them. We are doing that now. I taught misconceptions for 25, 26 years. 26 years from age 25 to age 50. It's only been 6 years that I've gone into the proper concept of this movement is. 6 years. 6 out of 33 years. I'm keeping it real. From age 25 to age 50, I was involved in misconceptions. That's most of my adult life. That's pathetic. The problem is these conscious Moors are not being honest. They're not being real. But Terrence already knows me. Terrence knows me. I said, Terrence,
we'll do break in 2 minutes.
I would never teach another misconception. Right. It's Terrence, if I teach a misconception, I want you to come over here, bring a baseball bat. Please come over here and bring a baseball bat. And swing at my head. And please do not miss.
No, what time, Terrence, what time is break?
Actually it was at 3, but
Yeah, we can go break now. And then we want to get back on the lesson.
Absolutely.
When we come back. All right, peace. Break time.
Right. I need y'all to understand the good faith concept and the principle behind good faith. Because when we think about trust and we're thinking about all of the things, these moving parts, you got to understand the principle. And the reason why I teach principle is so that you don't have to worry about understanding every component. If you can understand the principle, then the rest will fall in line, because that's the purpose of it anyway. I don't want you to overwreck your brain understanding every term, everything, because if you get the principle, then everything else, as you learn the principle, you'll understand how everything flows. So, building this trust, building, like I said, I don't want you to think about money as a money system. I want you to think about Federal Reserve notes as just a key to unlock a world of access to things that you need. But the things that you need, we must build and put in there to have access to put the door up. Do everybody get that, what I'm saying with that part?
I do.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yep.
So understanding this information, right, as we build and grow, I want you to understand, as a collective body, we will get more done. The problem is the things, because of the lack of knowledge and the things that we don't understand, we don't have insight. Once you understand this information, you will get the insight. You will understand what it's truly about. And it's all about our unity. It's all about us working together. It's all about us setting aside our pride, our ego, and all of that. Why? Because it's going to keep you grounded. Because at the end of the day, you're going to realize I need my brother and I need my sister. This is the only way we're going to get back to our national state, to having our sovereignty. But we first got to learn these concepts to get there. So you got to understand the power, the purpose of the power of attorney as it relates to these things. Why do I need a power of attorney? Because the trustee is going to release power of attorney to other people he may deem better qualified for different areas. Because if you believe a trustee knows everything, then you's a fool. No one person knows everything.
Good point. Good point.
I learned every day. I'm not going to tell you. I know a lot about law, right? I met Abdullah and he helped me. I learned some things from Abdullah. Me and Abdullah about that. Because we were talking, because I'm talking in a more modern and practical sense, using certain applications. He was talking international law and really getting down to a deeper jurisprudence and philosophy of things, which I already understood. But I'm like, no, I got to keep it this way. And we was going back and forth until we realized certain things about each other and we moved into a perfect marriage. He said, oh, aha moment. Oh, we both had aha moments. Because we had to look and see and compare the information to see how valid and useful the information was. And once we both realized that this was resources we both need, guess what we did? We joined forces. If anybody really teaching you trust, I don't care, man, I got a land trust. You need a family trust. You need more than a land trust. You need a medical trust. You need so many different forms of trust. How could you run them all? Why wouldn't you put competent people line up with the right people with some right information? Then they say, hold up, I don't know this. How we gonna get there? We build a community based on what? Continuing education so we can grow and develop. And if you think these people gonna come and teach you for free, you's a fool. So that means we got to come up with the money together to allow them to teach us, and we collect the information and create resources for the followers, the people following us. So now we got the classes and everything they need so we can continue to grow and develop. This is the reason why I'm teaching this. What you guys getting is a hellified experience, because you weren't gonna get this from no other Moors. Because most people, I can tell you right now, don't
He's
know
right.
half of what I know.
He's right. I agree. I agree.
All these people, they ain't been in no courtroom and brothers and cried. Thank you, King. I didn't have people, mamas call me, please help us. I did this for little to no money, sacrificing my whole family, my career, everything. This is why I talk to Abdullah all the time. This is why I say I appreciate you, brother. Because he didn't have to do this. He has a graduate degree, a master's. Do you understand what I'm saying? He went to school for that long. Nursing school wasn't no joke. It was tough. I sacrificed on everything so I can learn how to understand what these people doing to me legally. And now I'm giving it to you for a pennies on a dollar, for a fractional, because it took me years. It took 15, 16 years of my life. You know, I'm only 53. That's over a quarter of my life. A quarter of my life I gave to give y'all this information. So I want this information to sit with you guys.
Good. Can we bring up Israel? Bring back the. Are we done with good faith, right, King?
Yeah, we're done with good faith.
All right, so we can go.
I want to stay here for 1 second because I want to go over.
All right.
Good faith. We
All right,
did
go ahead.
everything. So I want you to understand. Okay, good faith is a broad term that is used to encompass honest dealing, depending on the exact setting. Good faith may require an honest belief or purpose. Faithful performance of a duty. Now let's understand what duty is. Click on duty. We're going to go through all of these different things so I can get you to understand when we relative to good faith. Somebody want to read? Because we're going to go over this, as I pick up, we're going to go over this pretty fast.
Yeah.
I want y'all to have a better understanding.
Duty. 1. Requirements to perform some conducts required by law. Custom, morally, or a person. Let me move this picture thing. Person, no commitment. This requirement often create a right in the others that the duty be perfect.
Perform.
But excuse me, I couldn't see this picture. Let me move this thing. Okay. Performed and a breach of such duty. X fiduciary duties, duties of good faith, duties of care, duties of loyalty, etc. Give rise to a cause of action for violations of rights. However, there are some duties in law, duties of public officials that do not give rights to inaction. 2. A tax on important goods. Last review in June.
Now you ain't got to read that.
Okay, excuse me.
Yeah, you don't have to. The second definition is not really applicable to what we're talking about. That's
So
the
I want
duty
you
is
to
part of the text.
understand this, right?
Okay.
Some
Thank
of
you
us
for
have
getting me to this level to read. Thank you.
Okay, so when we talk about a duty, right, you might have a fiduciary duty, a duty of good faith, right? That means you act with honesty and integrity. A duty of care. What do that? Anybody know what duty of care mean? Amanda, I'm gonna call you out. You work in insurance. Come on.
Duty of care is the requirement that you're supposed to treat people in a particular manner. Like you have to, for certain treatments, you have to go by, I don't know, certain steps in order to take care of that condition. Could that
Exactly.
be considered following the duty of care or a standard of care?
Okay, and I'm gonna give you an example of that. Driver's license, right? And I'm gonna talk about that, right? Some of us like to drink and get behind the wheel, right? The law says you can't do that. You have a duty of care. Why? Because you have other people on the road that depend on you not to do that, to not have an accident. So you didn't take the duty, right, of care to necessarily do what? Protect the other people around you. Because if you weren't drinking, other people may not been of harm. Due to your impairment, you consciously made a decision to impair your abilities to get behind the wheel. Do that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right? That's just like I was drinking and I worked heavy machinery, right? I might work a crane or something, or a heavy duty digger or whatever, some kind of heavy equipment, and I'm inebriated, I'm drunk, and I work, and I'm working in that condition, and I hurt a civilian or another co-worker. That's failure to take duty of care before I got behind that machine. Or if I'm a nurse who go to work drinking, drunk, and I give the wrong medication to the wrong patient because I was inebriated. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do that make sense?
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So let's talk about, did y'all know that before I explained that to you?
Well,
No.
about the drinking part, it was kind of like, because it will cause an effect. So I understand that part, but the other stuff is enlightenment. Thank you.
Okay, duty of loyalty.
Jazariana, FaceTime video.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Have here, all right, duty, requirement to perform some conduct. No, we read this.
So a duty of loyalty, right? A duty of loyalty. Anybody want to try to explain the duty of loyalty?
That you're acting in the best interest for the individual who you have the duty of loyalty to, in regards to like fiduciary duties.
No, the fiduciary duty is that you handling certain obligations that was bestowed to you by contract. I'm talking about duty of loyalty.
So that's not applicable to if you have a fiduciary duty?
No, they're different.
Okay.
So, Brother Israel, click on duty of loyalty. It's a little different. It's similar, but it's different. It says fiduciary duty, but duty of loyalty is one of fiduciary duties. Oh, so for example, let me go to a fiduciary duties. I don't want you to think about money. It's an obligation, right? So let's say I took an oath, right, as a police officer, right, to do upon my fellow to protect and try to save their lives or whatever. That would be a duty of loyalty. If I joined the military and I took an oath and all of that, I pledged the allegiance. That is a duty of loyalty. Me being a U.S. citizen and I naturalized to the United States and I pledge the allegiance to the flag, that's a duty of loyalty. If I become a member of, let's say, what they call them, the Masons, and I say you can't divulge none of our secrets and all of that, and that you take a vow, right? That's a duty of loyalty. those who are under the Pope and under their priesthood, that's a fiduciary obligation, but then they'll take a duty of loyalty that they can't reveal or anything. Government officials, presidents, and other people who works in those offices, though they take a duty, a vow, or oath. There is a duty of loyalty that they will not breach the trust of that government. Do that make sense, family?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's an obligation of inheritance or some obligation of a principal or something.
Yeah, but I wouldn't use inheritance. It's an obligation that once you become a member of this, like even some officials under government, even when they retire, they still have that oath that they won't reveal. They have to take an oath of secrecy. See, under a religious group, like I created a religious group, right? And under our society, you take a vow of secrecy. Why? Why would we take a vow of secrecy under making that a duty of loyalty? Because all of this information is secret and sacred to us. You're not allowed to tell outside people what our business is. Like they say, if everybody know your business, you got no business. Do that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So this duty of loyalty would be applicable in terms of a trust. This would be applied to the trustee.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Sure. Thank you.
And one more question: if this was, say, a family trust, could this also be applied to the beneficiaries, like as a safeguard?
It could. It
Okay.
could be. Yeah.
Okay.
You can put it. You can put that on. So you see where you're going with this, sister. You see how to incorporate these different principles.
Yes, I'm getting it.
You see what I'm saying, family? We got to understand these concepts so we can understand the range of information that we can use to safeguard and protect our rights. And understand the purpose of a power of attorney. I was just explaining to Brother Israel, let's say you and your family, right? And the purpose of this, right? You got a boyfriend, y'all not even married yet, but y'all have children, you have a house, you bought a house together, you got all of these things. Police come in and take him out the house. Off of false arrest. They said somebody said he do it. Now, under the system, they say you're innocent to proven guilty, but we know that's not true. That they're gonna lock you up, right? And remove and put all these hardships on you. Now he get locked up. How you gonna get access to his information when you don't have a power of attorney? Because you're not married, you're not considered one yet.
Question. So when you're married, does that fall under like co-head of household, like the partner?
That's called unless he had the property before you, if y'all get it together, that's called common law property.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody look that up real quick.
Can
We
you
ain't gonna share it on the screen. Just look up common law property. And read it real quick.
Says in the United States, common law property, also known as separate property, is the legal system where each spouse maintains individual ownership of property acquired during the marriage unless jointly titled. That was the AI though. I'm gonna look up on a.
I thought common law property is when the family when you get married.
Okay, it's saying what
That's
is
what I thought as well.
Let me say, let me look it up.
let me look that up and
Let me look this up real quick.
Or common
Look,
property.
the legal. We want the legal definition, right?
Let me see, marital property. Look up marital property. Also known as.
Okay, it says in common law property states marital property is generally owned individually by the spouse who acquires it rather than being jointly owned by both spouses, as in community property states.
So I looked up marital property is also known as marital property refers to assets acquired during the course of the marriage. It includes anything bought while married with money made during the marriage. Marital property is all property acquired by the spouse during their marriage, regardless of whose name is on the title. Separate property includes property owned before the marriage, inheritance, and individual gifts during the marriage. Let me look up this, right? So that's called marital property. I thought marital property is also known as common law property because I didn't heard them say that.
I'm looking at it.
Common law
Common property.
acquired by one state is considered their sole property. Okay. Community property is where marital property acquired. Okay, it's called community property. Okay.
Community property and King, because I've heard it as you have, I've heard common property. So I think that.
Yeah, it's common. So it's common property, also known as community property, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then you have common law property. So we have to understand these terms, right? This is how I just kind of use the term common law, but it's common. It's called common property or marital property, property that's acquired during the marriage, right? So, but common property also can be done through joining a property, right? Under a common law contract or under a common contract. So we can have common property through contract also. Under the operation of law, when you get married, it's called common property or marital property, depending on whatever state you're in. They use the particular language, right? By mere operation of law, when you get married, everything you acquire during that marriage, it don't matter if he's working and she's not, or vice versa. So I'm just giving us the understanding these things as it relates to building trust and then understanding the power of attorney and how to use the power of attorney to be effective. Because a lot of us do things and it's not effective. I think it's called common property. I don't know if it's community property. I think it's called common property and marital property. Common property slash marital property refers, it's just marital property under U.S. law is defined as acquired during a marriage which are subject to division in the event of the divorce. Marital property in U.S. legal term refer to property acquired during the course of a marriage. Property that is individually owned before marriage is considered separate property. So, and then it says, excluded from marital property by signing a prenuptial or prenuptial agreement, right? So I just need y'all to understand when we building, right, when you build a trust, you need to understand how to use the power of attorney and get these things done. So I just was getting into this. I don't want to get away. Let's go back, brother. Let's go back to the lesson so we can understand the good faith and how do you identify a breach. These are things that you need to understand to identify how a person made a breach under law. How do you know that an officer breached his duty? How do you know a judge breached his duty? Because a judge posted these same elements, a lot of these same things, they have to practice. A lawyer has a duty of loyalty when they say that, you hear Morris say the first thing a lawyer has, he has a duty to the court. He's supposed to, he took an oath to take that position, just like a doctor took a Hippocratic oath. To do what? To abide by certain rules and standards of practice so that they won't abuse the very people they swore they were to protect. You have to understand these things or you're going to miss the boat. This is why a lot of people, they're teaching you information, they can't break down the law, they can't tell you nothing. I run through this stuff. I go to court and I run straight through it. The judge know he ain't talking to no fool. Hold up, wait a minute, I object up, Your Honor. I have an affidavit where I was given a power of attorney to act on this individual's behalf over this particular property. Well, what is the property? The name, the identity, the whole persona. You are using that in construction with this. So how is this being used? Your Honor, I need this court to identify how this is being used before this court can move forward. Why? Because I own the personam, Your Honor. So I filed an injunction with the federal and state court. Why did I do that? Because y'all publicizing the name. How is you using that? That is not his name on his birth certificate. That's a name under this religious organization that is identified as property of this Moorish organization under this religious body. The name was assigned to him. That's not his given name. That's not his name under birth. He's using Keng ElBey, and that we own that personam, Your Honor. And we took an oath and swore in a duty to protect those rights and all those rights given under that property name. So if you're going to try to convict him, you can't convict him under that. I could do this in my sleep. Well, who are y'all? So we need this court to understand and identify. I filed an injunction. Y'all can't use that name because you can't tarnish the reputation of our organization, Your Honor. This is why you want Keng ElBey as an advisor when we're talking about trust relationships. I can go in the court and I can hold my own. Why are we trying to do this? Why you want to trust? So I can help you protect every facet of your life. If your husband go to jail, what are you going to do? If you and your husband go to jail, where is your children going to go to? Your Honor, who are you? Your Honor, I was identified as a trustee, a co-trustee. How is you a co? Yeah, I'm a co-trustee. These children, we already have a power of attorney under this religious body to help and protect the rights of these children. They are the beneficiaries of this trust. Here's all the legal documents in which the power of attorney was been filed at the county recorder's house, and I've even given to the prosecutor, and it's been authenticated by a notary and myself and the leaders of our organization. Well, what are you trying to come and do with this court? I'm here to make sure that the assignment that was given under the power of attorney go right to the rightful parents or grandparents of these children in which it was assigned. Everything was already verified by us. We already inspected the house. We did everything. If the court wish to re-inspect the house, you may do so. But here's an affidavit that we already do. These people already have this. You got their parcel of their land, Your Honor. This is where they stay at. They own this home. They this and this and all of this. These are good foreign children. Here's a affidavit from their ministers saying they people that good character, good standing. They live in the community. We already had everything laid out, Your Honor. But the court accept this as evidence, and then if the court want to have an evidentiary hearing on there, I'll be willing to subpoena some of the people to authenticate this affidavit. I just made that up. I don't have to think about it. I can walk right in there and talk this. Why? I've been doing it too long. So let's go back. Let's go back. What was you saying, Abdullah?
What you just said.
What did I just say? I don't know what you were.
Let's go back.
Okay. I'm waiting on you, Brother Israel. Let's go back to the power of attorney. I just wanted to give y'all the reason why things are necessary. Things as you look and shape your mind around this information, why is the power of attorney so important and why is it so powerful? So we talked about a durable power of attorney. Let's talk about a springing power of attorney, like a light switch set to turn on only when the doctor writes this person can't manage on their own before the letter. The helper has zero power. So when we talk about a springing, right, there has to be a chain of events that happens to spring this power of attorney into action.
What the example that you just gave, would that be an example of springing power of attorney? With regard to children.
That could be, yeah, because you got to understand, like some of these power of attorneys, they run into some of the similar elements. Like the court will identify some of this stuff based on the language. You don't have to name your power of attorney nothing. You could just have a bunch of language. The court is going to, based on the construction, they're going to make a determination what all the elements necessary. You might have 3 or 4 power of attorneys within one power of attorney.
Where are we, King?
So right here, number 4, durable and springing power of attorney. You see that?
All right.
Number 4. Number 5, most states want your signature and a notary or witness. To stop fraud, the law says prove it really you. Prove it's really you. So you must sign the form, bring a notary or sometimes 2 adult witnesses who check your ID and stamp the seal for the form. Real estate powers, many states also file a copy at the county office, so title companies will honor it. Do that make sense to y'all, what I just read?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So when you get with Keng and what we do, right, this is why it's so important. When you're dealing with trust, the trustee has a set of powers. That's all of that stuff got to be notarized, witnessed off by the grantor and witnesses Beneficiaries can be there and witnesses, all of this stuff. And then trust certificates got to be formulated. Do that make sense?
Absolutely.
You ain't just putting documents together just for the sake of putting documents. They have a purpose. Scroll down, my brother. What the hell they gonna do?
We have a reader. Someone, who do you have? Who has a sister
Already
Nadine? Is that Nadine? All right.
Yes. General power of attorney grants broad authority to an agent to manage all or most aspects of the principal's affairs, such as financial transactions, paying bills, and managing property. Ends if the principal becomes incapacitated or dies.
That's by operation of law. Go to the next one.
2. Limited or special power of attorney grants authority for a specific task or for a limited time, such as selling a property or handling a particular financial account. Authority ends when the task is completed or at a specific expiration date.
Okay, go down.
3. Durable power of attorney remains in effect even if the principal becomes incapacitated, can be general or limited in scope, often used for long-term planning, especially for aging or ill adults, individuals. 4. Non-durable power of attorney used for specific transactions or temporary situations. Automatically terminates if the principal becomes incapacitated or upon completion of the assigned task. 5. Springing power of attorney becomes effective only upon the occurrence of a specified event, typically the incapacitation of the principal. Remains dormant until the triggering condition is met. 6. Medical or healthcare power of attorney authorizes an agent to make healthful decisions if the principal is unable to do so.
Healthcare. Read it again, Nadine.
Medical or healthcare power of attorney authorizes an agent to make healthcare decisions if the principal is unable to do so. Usually takes effect upon incapacitation and ends with the principal's death. 7. Financial power of attorney specifically allows the agent to manage financial matters such as banking, investments, and bill payments. Can be durable, limited, or springing, depending on how it is drafted.
So you heard me before tell you that based on the language that you're using within that power of attorney can trigger or can be multiple power of attorneys if you understand how to draft. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, let's go down. We can probably skip this. Let's skip this part because we pretty much went over this already.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
yeah.
Go to key points real quick. Somebody want to read this?
Key points. The durable and springing features can apply to both general and limited POAs, depending on how the document is drafted.
Read
medical and keep going.
Yeah, read that.
Medical and financial POAs are often tailored to those specific spheres and may be durable or springing as needed. State laws may affect the default rules and requirements for each type. Choosing the right type of power of attorney depends on your specific needs, the level of control you wish to grant, and your state's legal requirements.
So when you're drafting power of attorney, you need to look at what the state requires, right? For that, how you need to be identified in order for that power of attorney to have what? Standing. Because if you do it outside of the scope of the state requirement, it may become invalid. And it may be too late if you wait till an individual like the parent die, now it has no force of law. Did I just make sense to everybody?
Could you
Yeah.
repeat that? I missed some of it.
Okay. When utilizing any of the power of attorneys within you must understand what the law requires to utilize such power of attorney. How you need to be identified and how that if it need to be notarized or whatever. Failure to follow the state requirement to activate the process for a power of attorney. If you do it outside of the scope of the state, in which the state requires certain things or certain elements before that power of attorney can be effective, that power of attorney may have no force in law and then you lose all rights to use that because you didn't follow the state requirements. And you don't want to wait till a loved one pass away to try to verify and check.
Yeah, anybody? Do we comprehend that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very key point.
I need y'all to understand these things. See, I need y'all to understand, okay, when you're looking at state statutes do not cover everything and every aspect of life. It can't. It can't go into every situation, everything. Why? Because as we evolve as a species in a society, things, technology, and all other things evolve too. It can't be legislated in every facet, so they come up with general provisions as a blanket, right? And then you use contracts, trust, and other things to fill that void, that gap that the statute doesn't cover and that the Constitution protects. Do that make sense to everyone?
Absolutely.
Have you ever heard anybody explain it to you like this?
No, not at all.
No.
I actually was reading a case of someone, and he was a Moore brother trying to deal with recovery stuff, and the judge said he was fibulous, meaning that it didn't have no serious or no merit. So when I'm hearing it from this point, I can see how all this stuff applies to our daily life.
Anyone else? Do y'all get this, what I'm saying? Hello?
Yes.
Got it. Got it.
Okay, let's move forward. I need y'all to understand this because all of these are tools that's going to be out the tool shed. If nobody is teaching you these things and setting up a trust and that so you don't want your trustee touching everything. Why? Because he don't know everything. He wanted quarterback to play. That's all he want to do. Sometimes he just the quarterback. I need to tell you he the brains. I'm going to sign it over to you so you can do this because I don't know how to do it. I'm going to make you an agent of the trust so that you can do this because I have no clue of what the hell I'm doing here. But I trust you to do this and you better not, I'm overseeing, looking at what you're doing. Because I can audit you and go through your records to make sure you ain't stealing this money of these beneficiaries. That's
So you're saying that the power of attorney should, in most, if not all cases, they should be a separate person from the trustee?
yeah.
Okay.
A trustee is you can have co-trustees, right, that you grant powers to and grant specific powers to, but you want to also have power of attorneys necessary to do certain things. That needs
Right.
to be incorporated. But you also can have people outside of the trust, like a corporation, to handle certain things on your behalf, on the trust behalf. Why? Because your trustees may not know it. And if you think that your trustee know everything, then you calling your trustee God. He know everything. I ain't never seen a person that know everything. If anybody tells me that, hold on 1 second, this is my job.
All right. So we have here.
I'm back.
How you get? All right.
So come on. So let's go down. We can skip this, brother, because I wanted to go over this. So let's go to section 2, right? Void and votable, right? Void and voidable. Execution, the way the paper is signed, witnessed, and notarized. Void, never valid. Nobody can rely on it. Votable, looks valid now, but can be canceled later in court. The driver's license, if the DMV never issue you a void, you issue, it says think driver's license. If the DMV never issue yours void, you can't legally drive, period. If your photo is blurry, but the BMV still issue it, it's voidable. It works until an officer challenges it. Void triggers hard stop. Wrong signer. Someone forged the principal name. Requires form missing. State statute demands the official short form for real estate deals, and you use a homemade version. Voidable triggers court can undo later. No notary / witness, even though the law said you need one. Principle, pressure, but still actually signed. Capacity in doubt. Principle may have been lucid and may not be. So let me explain this in a nutshell as it talks about void and voidable, right? Void is when you do something where the law requires something must be done in order to get it done. So it has no force of law, what I explained to you. The driver's license, you never had one. This is what they're saying. You never had a driver's license. So it's void on its face because you never had it. Your licenses may be coming up suspended. That means you had a driver's license, right? Give you a prime example. I had a driver's license. I had to keep some insurance, right? My insurance company, my girlfriend at the time paid my insurance late, like 2 days late. But they notified the BMV. The BMV suspended my license, but they sent the notice back in that it's paid, but the BMV never corrected. So I get pulled over by the police. I got a valid driver's license, right? I got a valid driver's license, but he challenged it.
All right, so do we go on break right now?
Yeah, let's go on break.
Break.
Okay, go on break. So understanding, right? When we was talking about the driver's license. So if they never issue you a driver's license, it's void, right? You ain't never had one, so it's void on its face because you didn't have one. Now, something voidable, I was giving you a situation where my driver's license was suspended. The officer said, no, this is invalid. I showed him, I said, how could this be invalid? And it got the issue date, and you telling me my driver's license been suspended 2 years earlier, but I got a driver's license that's issued 3 months ago because the last one was, it had to be renewed. What are you talking about? So they took my car, I go to court, they say, yeah, your driver's license is valid, we're gonna drop out the charge. The court validated my driver's license, but the city said, oh, we don't care about that. You gotta pay this toll, you gotta pay this money to get this. I could have sued them, I could have went back to court and sued them in a different venue, right? But that's the whole thing that I want y'all to understand. This is why we need to understand how to move, because reason why you need trustees, you can't, let's say I had to go to work. Who got time to be in court all the time over a situation? You gave somebody power of attorney, boom, 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 they can help litigate that. Because the asset is held in trust. The trustee assigned it to an agent as an individual or an entity in which the entity assigned an agent to handle that matter to be able to execute that matter on the grounds of filing a civil case. Due to the fact he has a power of attorney, he has the rights to do that because he represents, or his status in relationship is with the trust, and he represents the rights of the trust through contract. You see how that works, family?
Yes, sir.
Clear.
But if you don't have things in place, right, you're not gonna understand. So let's go down to voidable, right? So it says void, trigger, hard stop. It means to stop right then and there. Wrong sign or someone forced the principal name, stop. Required form missing. The state statute demand official short form for the real estate deal, and you use a homemade version. So you take one off the internet and use it, and you didn't go get the state official form. Voidable, triggers, court can undo later. One, notary and witness, even though the law said you need one. Principal, pressure under influence, but still actually sign. Capacity and doubt. Principal may have been lucid, maybe not. So that, person can be inebriated. So capacity and doubt, where somebody say, nah, I was under the influence when I signed that document. But you don't got no proof. It was just you and that other individual. But let's say there was witnesses that said, well, I was there. They had been drinking all night, and that individual put that document and signed it. Let's go up, my brother. Let's keep scrolling because we got to cover this. Revocation. The principal tears up the pot. It's supposed to be tears up the POA. So remember, the principal can revoke the power of attorney at any time. Automatic termination, death of the principal. Principal dies with you. You will take over. Your will take over. Right? Divorce for spouse agents, many states once married. That makes sense, family.
Hold on, where are you, King? Hold on. When they said
I'm on revocation and automatic.
yeah, I'm looking at you said right there, automatic termination.
I'm over
Law
in the
in.
other side.
All right, all right. Yank back.
Death of the principal.
Oh, all right, I see. I missed. I got it. All right, good. You good.
Okay, let's go down, brother.
If you have any questions before he moves on? Questions? Comments? All right, go ahead, King.
So when we looking at real estate, right? Some states won't let an agent transfer land unless the POA is filed at the county recorder's office. Recording stamp says this document is public official. This document is public and official and ready to use. So we gotta look at certain power of attorneys, certain things dealing with real estate and all of that. Right? Why is that very important? Because it loses the force of law, won't have no force of law if you don't do certain things that's required by the state. You just can't just create a power of attorney without looking and reviewing to do certain things within the grounds of the state. Because you'll have people doing this stuff all the time, and it might be outside the boundaries of what's necessary for the court to deem that that document has the force of law. So you need to always be up with your information dealing with the particular matters. Am I making sense?
Yeah, this is pretty much what you said earlier about before we went to break regarding drafting a power attorney and looking at the same principle. It's a principle in which you're addressing.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
always
So,
the principle.
mm-hmm.
So all of
So
this
you,
stuff covers like bonds, right? Title companies, buyers, and banks need ironclad proof before touching property. Typically sign or notarized POA take into the county recorders where the land sits, pay small fee, get a recording number, practical tips. If taxpayers exist in 3 counties, you may need to record, and all 3 local clerks will accept the. Go down, my brother. Anybody
gotta
want?
look. We just gotta look at the state requirements.
Right. Anybody want to read?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, somebody read.
For backup systems, successor agents, joint agents, bonds, accounting, and hot powers. Successor agent is the understudy, steps in if first agent quits, dies, or can't serve. Joint agents are the 2 sets of eyes signing together as extra safety. Bond is the insurance policy the agent buys, pays money back if they steal. Accounting duty is the agent must keep receipts and give periodic reports. And hot powers list from the Uniform Powers of Attorney Act is the extra risky actions that need explicit initials. Imagine giving someone your house keys. You might also hide a spare key with the neighbor, the successor agent, require 2 people to unlock at once, joint agents, set up homeowners insurance in case they break something, bond, ask for a weekly photo of the thermostat, accounting. Hot powers, the 6 big ones, must be spelled out and often initialed. 1, gifts of the principal's money or property. 2, changing beneficiary designations on life insurance, IRAs, etc. 3, creating or amending trusts. 4, waiving the principal's right to be a beneficiary of a joint and survivor annuity. 5, delegating the agent's authority to someone else. 6, changing survivorship rights or titling real estate. Bottom line, these powers are like nuclear buttons. The law insists. You scroll down. The law insists on vivid written consent, so an agent can't say, oh, I thought I could just give myself the beach house.
That's good, man. This is good. Y'all take this. This is really good, King. This is really good. Good analogy that you drew here. Give us a clear. Well, this is what. What do y'all think? What are your thoughts about this here?
I'm right here. There you go.
That is clear. No, I'm just talking to the students. What are your thoughts here on how King presented this, and as far as clarity is concerned?
I think it's pretty clear.
Islam.
The safeguards.
These talks, yeah, talks about the safeguard measures that's outlined here in these six points. Do y'all see the safeguard measures?
Yes.
All right, I just thought this was I just wanted to mention that. All right, we can continue.
Okay, anybody want to read this? Come on,
We have
somebody.
we have a reader, a different reader. Glenn.
All right. Two two real life lesson cases about powers of attorney. Case plain name. In Ray, Barnwell elder abuse through a POA. What happened? Simple facts. Mrs. Barnwell, age 88, signed a durable POA, giving her nephew power to handle all money matters. Nephew quietly wrote checks to himself and even listed himself as joint owner on her savings. Other relatives saw sudden bank withdrawals, went to probate court, and asked for an emergency review. Court decision holding. Judge found self-dealing. The agent used the POA to benefit himself, not the principal. POA revoked on the spot. Court appointed an independent guardian, froze the accounts, and ordered the nephew to repay what he took. Take-home lesson in one line. A POA is not a blank check. Abusing it can get the agent removed, sued, and forced to give the money back. Quick everyday scenario that feels the same. Imagine grandma lets grandson use her debit card for groceries. He starts buying electronics. Bank records exposed the overspending. Family asks courts to step in. Smith versus Bank One. Mr. Smith versus Bank One. Bank liability for using an old POA. Mr. Smith once named a friend as agent, but later revoked that POA and filed the revocation letter with his bank. Months later, the friend walked in with a dusty copy of the old POA. The teller let her withdraw $40,000. Mr. Smith sued when he is covered. Mr. Smith sued when he is covered the loss. When he discovered the loss. Court said the bank had noticed the POA was canceled and still paid out. Bank was ordered to reimburse the full amount plus fees. Banks and anyone else must double check that a POA is current. Using a stale or revoked one can make them pay for the mistake. Imagine you email your credit union, I canceled mom as my agent. 6 weeks later, a rookie teller honors mom's old form and empties your account. The credit union eats the loss. JacobLegal.com.
That makes a lot of sense.
Why these stories matter to ordinary people. Number one, pick agents wisely and set guardrails. Regular account statements, co-agents, or a required second signature can stop a Barnwell-style drain before it starts. Number two, always give written revocations to every place the POA might be used. Hand deliver or certified mail a copy to each bank, doctor, and broker, and keep proof so you can show you did your part if a Smith-type glitch occurs. Number three, banks, hospitals, and title companies have duties too. They can't just rely on any piece of paper that looks like a POA. If they ignore warnings or obvious red flags, they may have to make the victim whole. These two cases, told in plain language, show both sides of the coin. Courts will protect elders from misusing a POA, and they will also protect principals when third parties mishandle a POA that's out of date.
Section 4, how to make it official so no one rejects it. Number 1, sign the paper yourself. Number 2, notary or witness watch you sign and confirm you. Number 3, some states, if the POA will be used to sell or mortgage real estate, record a copy at the county office. Why these hoops? They stop fraud. Stamped witness form tells the bank and hospitals this is real. Honor it. Points to look for: deliberately weak POA, parenthesis, missing witness, overboard gifting power, no successor, in parenthesis. In pairs, they redline it and draft a one sentence fix for each flaw. All right. Anyone for section 5?
Section 5, how to draft a relocation notice that certifies statutory notice requirements. Identify at least 3 structural safeguards that deter PO misuse. Distinguish relocation principles act.
Excuse me, Ken, that's supposed to be debtor?
Deter, that deter,
Deter.
like
Yeah.
like the deterrence.
Right. Deter.
Oh, that deters, P-O-R, deter. The verb that deters, POA. All right.
Misuse. Distinguish relocation
Revocation.
revocation principal act from termination operation of flow.
Law.
I mean law, excuse me.
It's just, I gave a sample notice, revocation notice. Scroll down.
Revocation notice. Date, inserted date, to name and address of recipient party.
So hold on, Israel, scroll up. Scroll down so that we can see the whole more of the form. All right, there we go.
Whose
Yes.
rights are being revoked from name and address of revoking party. Revocation of specific powers of attorney / contract, petition, registration, other legal authority, dear recipient name, This notice serve as a formal written notification that effect immediately. I hereby revoke and terminate the specify the authority, e.g. power of attorney dated, birth, month, date, year, contract entered on month, date, year, petition approved on month, date, year, registration number, XXX, etc. previous granted to you. Specific details, dates of origin, documents, inserted date, parties involved, listed all relevant parties, descriptions of authority revoked, briefly describe the authority or document being revoked. Reason for revocation, if the required by statute or contract, state the reason, if applicable or required. Statutory rights and opportunity to respond. You are hereby notified that this revocation is made pursuant to applicable statutory requirements. If you wish to contest this revocation, you may submit evidence or a written response within inserted statutory period, e.g., 15 days. Failure to respond within this period results in a revocation becoming final. Delivery of notice. This notice is being sent to you via certified mail with return receipt. Request. Oh.
So I can speak on this. So this is some of the same things, right? It's just going to request other methods as required by statute to ensure proper delivery and documentation. Please govern yourself accordingly. Sincerely, you put your name. And then you give them a list of instructions. Go down. Instructions. Scroll. Ensure the notice is in writing, dated, and signed. Clearly identify the parties, document authority being revoked and effective date. State the basis for revocation if required. Provide opportunity to respond or appeal if statute requires it. Send by a method that provides proof of delivery. So you got a lot of people, right, that's trying to use the UCCs and a lot of stuff and a lot of different things, and they don't read these documents. They don't know how to use a power of attorney with their mortgages. They're trying to discharge debt. There's a lot of different things that they need to identify dealing with accounting purposes and the ability to challenge evidence, right? Based on what operation of law. So when we dealing with some of these things and the person has the authority and the contracts are given out, right? But you got to understand, you got to give the other party notice. Let's say you do something, right? Let's say you buy a house or whatever, do something, but you do it independently without the agent. Now, he might, based on the triggering of that, automatically you already have it that the agent is going to take over and step in and do everything, right? You got to put them on notice. Hey, I purchased this house. At the time of purchasing this house, here's evidence that the agent has the power to do all of this. You have to contact them. Please don't contact me. Here's the agent's number, this and this and this. You might even buy the contract. You might even buy the property and sign in the agent's name, or have the agent present when you purchase in the house, where they have to sign up under your name or whatever, whenever necessary, that need to ensure the integrity. Do y'all understand what I'm saying with this? Hello?
We have any questions? Any questions? Comments? Any questions or comment?
Thank you. Yes. Yes, I'm following along pretty good because like I was saying early through the break, actually witnessing a Moore brother who's supposed to be like an elder that's really knowledge and supposedly in more science, but yet because he doesn't know law, he's having a hell of a world of a trouble. But I'm actually learning because I'm from the outside watching, and I'm in the class, so I'm getting a lot more out of this. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, or comments?
So I want you to understand the importance of this. And when you're dealing with trust and you're dealing with power of attorneys and stuff like that, how you utilize these documents and contracts. You got to understand how to use these contracts and how to file these contracts and where these contracts need to be. So you have a private estate, right? That you set up with outside of any statutory authority because the Constitution gives you such right to do that. You have a right to contract in any capacity. That's a protected right. That's a fundamental principle that you can challenge. How the statute trying to affect a private right in which the state don't have authority for how you want to set up your affairs to do your own business. You don't have to, this is what I'm trying to tell you. You don't have to do a lot of things. If we had the money, we can have other people do it that are professionals that we pay them to handle our affairs, get our mail, pay our bills, all of these different things. And because they specialize in this area of law. But because we don't understand these things and we don't understand trust, we don't know how to contract, that's what we do. We leave ourselves open and vulnerable to took advantage of. Then you got people saying, man, get you a trust, get you a trust. But they're trying to sell you a template in a packet without giving you the knowledge required to operate safely. To truly protect your assets. Do that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
So let's get into a discussion about some trust. How and trust, since you learn trust and certain safeguard measures, okay, how would you protect yourself against a trustee from being able to do things that, you know, you want to safeguard the property and the asset? What things would you do necessarily to protect such rights? Now, this stuff that we have talked about in the past, we're talking about power of attorney today. So give me some things, since we have discussed these things, I want to see how well, where you at, have you been following the information to, so I can see if the information is sticking well with you or not. I want to gauge my teaching ability.
Trust protector.
A what?
A trust protector.
That's one. Come on, give me some stuff.
Witness and authentication process through the notary process, witness.
Yeah, that's another one. Come on. Come on, family. Come on now. Y'all been taking this class. It's 8 weeks. Come on, where you at now?
Setting up a holding trust.
It has to be written in the body of the paperwork.
Bingo. That's what I was looking at here.
Right, so elaborate on that, King.
So, legal safeguards are they're mere provisions, along with putting other actions in place necessary to trigger an event that makes sure that you safeguard that right by understanding what you're drafting. The language in the contracts mean everything. The devil is always in the detail. You need to understand how to draft, what language to use to utilize all of these instruments. Because power of attorneys have specific language as well as trust indentures, trust certificates, trust memorandums of trust. You must understand trust language, right? You must understand power of attorney language as we broke down and went through this information, as you can understand how to safeguard your right and what things you need to do to ensure that a trustee can't take your money, steal everything, run off with your assets, and that you have a trust protector in place and all these other viable elements necessary to help you. You must understand this information in totality.
What I would suggest the students, what you all to do is you get, if you have opportunity, I know we're busy with our work schedules, is review some of the classes. While you're on your way to work, throw in the tape. Go to the, we go to the particular class, and I know it's a lot, and I said that, and I wanted it to be comprehensive. I didn't want, so I'm very grateful for King that he's really bringing it. He's making it very comprehensive, because we don't need watered down. We don't need a watered down course. It's not going to help us.
I apologize. I work a lot, and I be trying to make sure y'all get this information, man. I know.
No, whoa. You apologize for what? Hold on. What you say? What you apologizing for?
Sometimes I might doze up a little bit. I get into these things, but
no, don't apologize for that. For what, dropping it? No, brother. No, I ain't accepting that. Nah, brother. No. We need it though. We need the comprehensive. This is what I was saying, that we don't need a watered down.
Absolutely.
You're not, this is not watered down. You are bringing it, and we need it. Now the onus is on us. You doing your job. So no. For us to study.
Right.
These are 8 PowerPoint presentations recorded. So you're doing a great job, King. That. Yeah, we don't. I'm glad you bringing it this way. I'm glad you giving us a lot, because we need it. We need something comprehensive.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, and I came a little late, so I would love to be able to get access to I can catch up to this
I sent them to you.
Oh, you did? Oh, damn.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
I think I texted them to you.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So I
Thank you.
just need you guys to understand, man, we're trying to set up a community. And the reason why we're trying to do this so that we can effectively make change. I want to make each one of you guys millionaires based off of this information. Based upon us unifying, understanding this importance of this information, and bringing this into families and friends so that they can then mimic this behavior and join us in this fight. But also at the same time, get what they need out of this. So people don't have to be stressing about everyday life due to the wrongdoing of this government, this stealing that they utilize in these Federal Reserve notes that cause this harsh inflation and all the sorts of other problems that this stuff creates. And they haven't even did a good job in managing it. They could have did a better job. But we understand that this is based off greed and conquer and colonizing the people and usurping as much as they can, extracting as much as they can from the people, right? As much as possible before the people catch on. That's the name of the game. Because at some point, somebody gonna catch on. And they knew this. Like they was, They might catch on to the scheme, but we gonna get this as much as possible, extract the nuts, much resources we can.
And King, as I said before about an hour ago, with the outreach that we're growing, because I see the outreach as being very viable, viable. And the what I have not seen in 33 years, in this movement, I've never seen where you have various Moorish study groups, body politics, however you want to call them, working together. I've never seen that. What I've seen is where we had a conference in 2021 where about 15 different representatives, conscious Moorish representatives from various body politics came to Philadelphia. This is spring of 2021, which was good. Now, which is not good, after 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, after Sunday, they went back. They went back to Chicago. They went back to California. They went back to Newark. They went back to Michigan. They went back to ETC. And that was it. Like, that was it. It's like we had this, we did the advertising, brought people, they flew in, they drove in and all that, and then that was it. I learned from that. I said, Terrence, that's not going to happen again. That's not going to happen again, Terrence. Not on our watch, Terrence. So May 18th of last year, I have kept in contact with over 40 to 50 people that was at the conference. Ishmael, were you there? King was there. The reason why we had the nationality, the Human Rights and Nationality Conference, the Human Rights and Nationality Conference was sponsored by the Moroccan Post School of Government International Law in New York 2 weeks ago. Why New York? Because 20 people from New York came to the conference. That's why New York. I have kept in contact. I bought some of them on my Moorish Monday. Ishmael, I hosted Ishmael's event in February. He's on here right now. Ishmael's on there. Ishmael brought me in February of this year to host his event. So I've Raza was there. Harmony Fest. I hosted. He put that on in January in New York this year. So I've been working. Sister Sasha, Luisa Flores, name them. King, I can keep naming them. So
there.
So what is different is that I didn't allow it to happen. What occurred in 2020, 2001, I said, I'm not going to allow that to happen. Where we just bring people in and then they go their separate ways. I said, no, that ain't happening. We kept in contact. We've been working together. I've got Luisa Flores. I typed out 40 of her outreach. I typed 40 of my outreach. I brought Luisa Flores on in March, when she did her presentation. Quasi on. Quasi will be doing part 2 in next month. So this has been ongoing. I said, I'm not going to allow to happen what happened in 2001, which I was a part of, even part of help organizing. That ain't happening on our watch. Our contacts are growing. I'm just, some of y'all don't know. That's also y'all, which is fine. Y'all don't know, but y'all gonna know. As I said, starting in September, I'm gonna have 6 or 7 of us. Those who have been on my Moorish Monday, Sister Akasha will be on August 21st. 6 or 7 of us at a time. One Monday out of a month, I have 6 or 7 of us on at a time so we can show the unity. We're doing this. We have the resources now. We have it now. We have it now. We just got to what? Organize it. Just hear me out. Let me just speak for 3 more minutes. Please hear me out. If you've been a part of churches, if you've been a part of fraternities, you've been a part of society orders, let's say a church. The resources are there in the church. They're there already. Knowledge is a resource. They're there already. But what happens there? See, when you have people who come together, they bring their knowledge, they bring their skills, or carpentry or plumbing, electrician, legal skills, knowledge, whatever it is. Those are resources. What Tasha ElBey said to me 33 years ago. Tasha ElBey said this to me 33 years ago. He said that the knowledge and skill is the money. The knowledge and skill is the money. I remember I've never said he meant that. He said that several times to me. The knowledge and skill is the money. That stuck with me. That never left me. He's right. The knowledge and skill is the money. We have it already. We just got to bring it together. That's what I'm doing. I'm good at doing that. We have it now already. Not gotta get it. We got it. You just gotta bring the different people together. That's it. I'm saying we're so busy trying to do it ourselves, trying to outdo each other, fighting each other. Who's the better? We're so busy with that. But we gotta remedy it. We got it already. I'm not exaggerating. I don't exaggerate. We got it now. It's just having the knowledge to bring it together. I rest my case.
So do everybody
Appreciate it, brother.
understand what's going on? Was this power of attorney class, because we're gonna go into part 2 next week. Did you get enough of this information?
Yes, it's so new to me. So yeah, a lot of this
Go
stuff
down,
I'm
brother Israel.
familiar with. So I'm appreciating it. Thank you. Yeah, I got it.
So I want y'all to understand key structures or safeguards that deter misuse of power of attorney. Carefully select of agent. Choose a trustworthy, responsible, and reliable agent and most fundamental safeguard. So you want to choose somebody more knowledgeable. Why? Why do you want somebody? Because they're less likely to steal and make mistakes. People who have put themselves in a better situation by learning information, right? They understand the purpose and the use. Some people get stuck. So what do? They say, man, I'm gonna try to get over. Why? Because they know they ran out of information to utilize. So they know they only can take you so far. So what do they try to do? They try to get the most up out of it. Go down to 2. Limit and clearly define authority. When you're dealing with this, you got to use the particular language, tasks to cover what you're trying to do. If you're trying to restrict something, spell it out. If you're giving them a specific task to do, spell it out. Don't leave it blank. Type as much as you can. Go back over it and make sure that you be as forthcoming with the information so that you know what they can and cannot do. Require transparency and oversight. What does that mean? You want to be able to audit, look at documentations at any given time upon your request or without a request. That this power of attorney that you can have a right to storm into any office, ask anything at any given time for any known and unknown reason. You want to be able to look at everything they're doing. That makes sense?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So we got to understand how to do this. So understanding wills, understanding living trusts, to understanding trust relations, period. Because all of these are different forms of trust. A will is a trust. A living trust is a trust, right? A power of attorney is a contract, but falls under trust. Why? Because you're going to have some oversight by a trustee. So one of the problems, like I said, I don't want you to look at money as a financial instrument. I want you to look at it more of a key. Why I say key? Because you want to use the money to get access, but the knowledge is that really the money. The knowledge is really the money, but you're using the knowledge to get the Federal Reserve notes to have access to or build something that you need. But the only way you can build it is with the knowledge, which is the information. This is why they miseducated us on so many areas so that we can intentionally miss the target. So we can be discussing misconcepts. So I want to recalibrate your mind and help you understanding if you got a trust or not, what kind of trust you need to set up, and what you need to do, and incorporate it in us working together to build a financial community, a community based on fiduciary obligations that you put certain people in there that have enough of the wherewithal due to the fact that we've been working together, and that now, because you do it anyway, the United States has a corporation. You invest in stocks and bonds all the time without you knowing. Every time you go pay a ticket, you investing in municipal bonds. You supporting the system you don't even know you're supporting. Half the things you don't understand how you support it. So you might as well help create a system where you can have transparency in, where you have a right to look at stuff and understand that they're bringing people in to educate you so that you don't never be in the dark about nothing. Do that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because I want to tell you this, I don't know everything. So how did I do so far today? Because I gotta get up out of here, family. I gotta go get my kids. How did I do today? How did this do?
Excellent.
Get some feedback, y'all.
Wow. I mean, it's getting me to understand what happened to the elder and why he in the situation he in. And I gotta keep speaking on that because that's us Moors acting like we know everything. And then when you get into a spot, now you stuck because you ain't really doing what you're supposed to do, which is follow the rules and do the due process, like you said, and find the facts of things.
You know where our problem is? We don't build a community with information. That's why they have libraries. If you notice, all these communities got libraries, they put particular information in.
Yeah.
So when we create this community, this stuff that we're doing with these classes, they're gonna be our library. So you can go say, oh, King taught the trust class. Why do I got to pay these dues? Because you got access to a bunch of free info. I ain't gonna say free, but you're a part of a community which you pay dues for, and that you have access to readily available information. And then we set up the communication with other institutions that I'm creating where you can contact, and you got plenty of reliable information. Then we bring in experts through the community that stuff, because I don't know everything, because I don't know every statute of every state. I don't know everything in Ohio Revised Code. I know a lot of things, but I don't know everything. So I bring in other experts that may charge. So we then educate ourselves by recording and putting a library of information that we need to help us facilitate, grow, and develop, putting us into a governmental staking and strategy so that we can politically move correctly as we start to move up that ladder to retain our sovereignty. But we're going to walk this path in order to get to the bigger path. And now we have the knowledge, the resources, and the skills to accomplish what we're intending to do. Do that make sense?
Yes.
How many of us really know how to invest? How many of us is really financially literate? How many of us understand credit? How many of us really understand the financial system in the banking world? How many of us understand IRAs, right, and other vehicles for us investing into? How many of us understand about bonds? How many of us really understand securities? Really, do we know all of these different areas of things that's in here? I know I don't know all of the different areas.
You are.
So why we're not building a community that try to get in people who have this information, build libraries of this information so that we'll have it. So that, because law is not a guessing game. Either you know it or you don't.
I would say again, King, we have it already. I'm gonna continue saying that. And once again, I don't exaggerate. I'll say we have it right now. We have it. But you're saying we need to get. We don't need to get. We have it already. I'm gonna stay on that. I don't exaggerate. It's about bringing the people together. I have the knowledge of how to do that. We have it already. The problem is, once again, we're trying to do it ourselves. These different organizations. Because I got 33 years and I've been out for a long time, 33 years consecutive of being active. I developed a lot of relationships over the years. I can call on Crip Jesus. I can call on a seer. A seer, I met him 15 years ago. Didn't speak to him for 15 years. Didn't speak to a seer for 15 years. Call him 4 weeks ago. I called a seer 4 or 5 weeks ago. After not speaking to him for 15 years. Not that we had any issues. It wasn't that. You know, I didn't have his number and all that. He had moved. He was in New York. He had moved to Florida and all that. That's all that was. So I called him to be on Moorish Monday, which he was on Tuesday because he was scheduled to be on Monday. So he was on Tuesday. He says, yeah, I know who you are. I said, I remember. I said, yeah, you met such and such 15 years ago, Fatima Rides class. Yeah, your baby was in the scholar then. Yeah, I know who you are. Yeah. Man, that book, Moors and Masonry, man. Man, that book, man, he gave me high praise on the book and said, man, I've been pushing your book internationally. That's that's an example of what I'm talking about. Relations I built, not King Bay, known for over 30 years. And I go on the relations that I built. So my lens is different, my brothers and sisters. I'm not better than nobody. I'm not better than nobody. My lens is much broader because of my experience, because of my outreach and the time I've been involved and the relationships I built over the years. People know me, I don't know them. My books have gone all over. My lens is broader because of that. So when I say we have it already, it's based on the context that I already have that I'm organizing. I know how to do that. We have it already. It's just about organizing. That's what we're doing. I'm gonna continue saying, tell you what, I won't say it anymore. We have it already. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna show it. I'm gonna show it. I'm just gonna continue showing it. We have it already. We have it already.
Anyone with any closing statements, questions, or anything?
Just thank you so much, each and every last one of us, because it takes all of us as individuals to step up to this point. And I'm thankful, and I'm watching this stuff come together from the very first time I started, and even out at my outreach, they still couldn't get it. And I've been sharing the Abdullah information and from the very beginning, and they still didn't get it. So now it's more clear to everybody here, and hopefully the rest of the massive will get it as well, because it's just clear enough for us to understand.
Right. Any last words, Abdullah or Brother King?
Yes, just once again, just study. Make sure you're just reviewing the recordings. Make sure you take copious notes. Thank y'all for your support and your attention. King, you did a wonderful job, brother, as always.
Thank everyone.
Until next week, class 9 next week.
All right. Peace, everyone. Peace, everyone.
Peace and love to everybody.
All right.
I'm gonna say gratitude to Brother Abdul and Brother King.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you guys very much.